We're back for another exciting episode of The Spicy Life. I am your relationship expert and magnetic matchmaker, Spicy Marty. And to join me in the G-Spot, that is guest spotlight, we have the beautiful, the gorgeous Zoe Martin. The crowd goes wild. This episode of The Spicy Life, we're going to get into it about standards. And Zoe, you might recognize her gorgeous face from hit show Sneaky Links Dating After Dark. As you guys can see, I'm on a trend right now interviewing my cast members of the show, who I absolutely adore. Let me give you a little bit of background on Zoe. Okay, she is from a city that I cannot pronounce, McDonough, which I've never heard in Georgia, and I used to live in Georgia. I lived in ATL and Alpharetta and never heard of McDonough, okay? But Zoe is from there, attended Savannah College of Art and Design in Atlanta, where she studied fashion before going to move to New York. Shortly after relocating, she started her clothing brand, Oh Dolly Dearest, which landed on the shelves of retailers like Nordstrom's and in the pages of magazines such as Glamour, Nylon, and British Vogue. Ow! Okay, accolades. I just thought you were a sneaky link.
So much more to me, you know?
There's so much more. Yeah. That's amazing. Are you wearing a piece from me right now?
Unfortunately, this is Zara.
Oh, but it's very cute. It's very cute. You know how to pick some Zara clothes.
Thank you.
I always start everybody off in the, hot seat, my guest spotlight, with a spice breaker. To warm you guys up, you have to share with me the moment that you fell in love with yourself.
The moment I fell in love with
when
myself.
Did you acknowledge I am amazing? I really do love me.
The moment. Okay. If I had to pinpoint a moment, I would say like right after high school, like just before entering college. I think I was just going through this phase of figuring out what was cool to me. I think so much of high school, my identity was like what everybody else thought was cool, what was trendy, what was popular. So I think I really started to figure out what I thought was cool. And in that process kind of started loving myself. I was like, okay, just because I'm going to an art school and I want to study fashion, and like back in high school, that was like very weird. Like people were like, oh, that's weird. Like, most people wanted to go to UGA or they wanted to go to Georgia State and have very like traditional kind of career paths. And I was like, I'm gonna go study art. And they're like, art degrees don't make money. And I'm like, well, I think it's cool. So I think in that time I started to really love myself. I started to really figure out what I like, and it was different, but to me it like really grew the love that I had for myself.
Most people are like, I'm just gonna do what my parents say, and
exactly.
But you didn't do that.
Yeah, so for me, I think what even made me kind of like follow my dreams and take the path of studying fashion was, I have a non-traditional story in the sense that there's always the person that is the first person to go to college out of their family.
Yeah, me.
Everybody in my family went to college, like they all went to traditional schools. They had kind of traditional career paths. So for me, I was like very fortunate that my mom was very supportive of like, no, go follow your dreams. Like if you want to get an art degree, do that. Like I always had dreams of going to New York. She always supported that. So I think even having that grew the love that I have for myself, because I was like, okay, I'm kind of given this push. Whereas other friends of mine, their parents were like, you're not going to study something that is going to put you this much in debt and only going to make you this amount of money. And my mom was like, no, you go to New York and you do it, honey. You follow your heart right out of McDonough. And I'm like, all right, girl, I'm gonna trust that, So
it sounds like you fell in love with yourself when you chose like what makes you happy.
Yeah, 100%.
I am curious about art though. I'm not in art at all. I have no style. I have no creativity when it comes to
the
artistic.
Style, please.
Amazon's finest. And I did not style myself on the show. I had a stylist.
Fair.
So, but I am fascinated by it, how your guys' brains piece together stuff and like make it look so good, because it does make such a difference on how you feel about yourself and how you carry yourself.
Yeah, it's expression.
Is art one of those things that it is original, or is it an imitation of other people's ideas, in the sense of I feel like art is always inspired by something. So do you claim it as your own creativity, or is it always based off of someone else's initial output?
I mean, I think there's nothing new under the sun. That statement is true. With that being said, I think there's also just a matter of perspective. Like some people can see art as something totally unique and original. There's kind of this resurgence of even like the early 2000s, right? Like my brand is based off of this style that already kind of happened. And fashion is definitely just a wave of styles coming back in and out. So I think the way I look at it is like you take your own interpretation of what inspires you and you put that into your art, whatever it is, if it's painting, if it's drawing, if it's fashion, if it's sewing, it's still like it's creating, it's being able to create, whether that's out of original concept or idea or taking something like, for me, movies, like film, television, music of like the early 2000s is what inspired me.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I'm doing these like styles for my brand, I just come up with these concepts of like kind of like revitalizing things that I've seen from like watching Bring It On, watching Clueless. I'm like, oh, I would love to see that, but in this way. Or, you know, I really want to see like even bring back, I've been really into like the bedazzled low-rise jeans.
Oh my gosh.
Like I know True Religion is like bringing it back.
I can't do it. I don't miss those days. Please don't come back with the fake jewels.
I'm so sorry. I am definitely team low-rise. But yeah, even that, I'm like, I think that style is cool.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back. And yeah, like fashion is huge on kind of not reinventing the wheel, but just kind of replicating styles and bringing them kind of in and out. So I think it's up to interpretation. Like I definitely went to school with people who were like, nope, this is an original concept. No one's ever seen this before. And then, I mean, even like studying art, there were like times when like artists would come out and they'd be like a toilet in a gallery and like you'd never see it done before. And you're like, well, how is that art? And it's like, well, it's never been done before.
Right.
So
this is the original.
Yeah. So that's how you look at it. Yeah.
Okay, I got to talk a little bit about sneaky links, right? We got to start there. Because to me, relationships and dating are an art. Okay, it's a specific skill set that it takes. There's a certain finesse to it.
Yeah.
You came on the show as this beautiful, lovely bombshell of a woman that was surprised that we were, essentially testing and setting you back up with an old flame.
Yeah.
But we saw men chase after you in the course of the show where at first, and I don't feel like they pushed too much on the narrative of you going into this experiment, not feeling like you were like crazy pursuit at first.
Yeah.
I, the entire time, was rooting for you and was like, okay, this girl, she gonna do it.
Yeah.
But there was this turning point where I saw the competition between the fellas really make, the man step up and come forward.
Yeah.
Man being Travis.
Yeah.
Are you still happy with your choice of who you chose? Or do you feel like I should have chose Corinthian?
I 100% stand by my decision to choose Travis. I think maybe the unpopular opinion is the fact that I kind of was happy that he stepped up when another guy came in. Like a lot of people on the internet I saw were like, no, he should have already had that energy from the beginning. But I think having a man, I mean, it's literally like animals in the wild.
For sure. Like, men need a little competitive energy.
It's like, I'm sorry, he saw like another like lion come in and he was like, okay, I'm gonna like really show my effort. And I don't blame him for that. If anything, I saw like this like masculine quality come out where it was like, okay, the guys are gonna get competitive. And that was attractive to me.
Yeah.
I still respect Corinthian 100% for coming in and being like, you're who I'm gonna pursue. Like, of course, that's always the ideal scenario. But I think the fact that Travis turned it up instead of the opposite reaction being like, okay, she has someone who's coming in for her, so I'm gonna kind of back down and choose whoever's left. I feel like I definitely wouldn't have respected him as much, and I would have been like, okay, well, obviously by default we would have kind of, me and Corinthian really felt that out all the way. But yeah, I stand by my decision.
Do you feel like that the show justified or did a good job demonstrating the self-love that you had for yourself?
I think watching it, yes. I think there's definitely moments, and I know we had in our session one time, we were talking about like, even like not self-confidence, I think it was, what was the word you used? You used...
Esteem, self-worth, self-assurance.
Self-deprecation.
Self-possession. Oh, self-deprecation. I'm like,
you were like...
I can go through all the self.
You're like,
self-assurance.
Self-deprecation, you were like, I think you've had a little bit too much like taking the hits personally. Because I'll just be honest, like for me in the dating world, I haven't had that much trouble, especially like going into a situation where like I felt like nobody was quote unquote choosing me. Yeah. So in this situation, I kind of came in and I was like, okay, well maybe I'm not as pretty, or maybe I'm not as cool, maybe I'm not as funny, whatever. And you're like, girl, you need to shut that down.
I can't believe they didn't give us these. I was like, dude, the levels that you like ascended in your like esteem and in choosing self. And I was like, oh, they're not giving us this. Like, what's the birth of Zoe?
From an ego standpoint, I was like, okay, whoo. But from like just seeing.
I wanted to see more of the evolution. I was a part of the evolution. And so then to see you as this like gorgeous specimen being chased after, to me, was so yummy.
Yeah.
And I love that they showed that.
Yeah.
But they didn't show the self-doubt.
No.
To show how we gain that confidence, to show how we start, making different choices and choosing self. And I just was like, oh, but I do love how you addressed Travis's type, right? By representing us as Black women, I think very well, in the sense of getting and hearing him say, yes, I do and am attracted to you.
Yeah.
And also there was a lot of vulnerability in wanting some diversity, and to make sure that you are, included, and hoping that they saw through, some of the, I feel like it was a beautiful story that was told.
Yeah.
I just don't think we got to see all the layers of Zoe.
No.
And that part, I was like,
again, from an egotistical standpoint, I was like, they made me look like I was day one, desired, and I had I think in the show, the first episode, I was talking to Travis. That did not happen. That wasn't until the fourth or fifth episode. I was not talking to anybody. Me and Kyle were talking, but we were talking as friends. And I think I tried with Logan, I tried with Brandon, but I wasn't getting much from anybody. And I kind of, like you said, I wasn't being shown with all the layers of okay, I'm walking in confident, that I'm not getting these receptive energy of people liking me back. So then I'm going into confessionals really defeated and saying I don't even know if I want to continue in this journey, because if I'm not even a contender, why am I don't want to sit on the sidelines the whole show, so that is kind of a two-parter. It's okay, on one hand, everybody's it's so lovely to see a Black girl not have a struggle experience.
Love that part. I was like, oh, they made it look like we just killing it out here. Yes.
Listen, I'll take it. But it was the other side of that, where it's my story wasn't that different from a lot of Black girls who are dating on reality shows, because they do typically show the struggles of the Black girl that doesn't get picked. And it made me seem like I was exempt from that, but I'm
not gonna lie. After they showed me the cuts, I was like, I do love that we showed some Black love on here, okay? That we showed the worship of a queen in our presence.
Thank you. Yeah.
I really did. I actually did love that part. But I just feel like the human experience that you have, I would have loved for that to be shown as well, because you do feel a lot of what we feel. You do experience that a lot. But you being, one of the heartthrobs in there, and getting the guy and all the things, I think was something to be celebrated. That they were like, well, let's focus on the joy and the celebration. I was like, okay, we'll
take that angle. Yeah.
You're like, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Where does your confidence come from?
Ooh, I feel like this is such an ongoing place that I pull from, just because I feel like there are even lately, I've been really into fitness and wellness. Even over the last year, I've lost 15 pounds. And I think,
get it, girl.
Thank you. Pilates. But I think even just these little moments of really pouring into myself, really focusing on okay, I'm going to eat well, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to take time to myself, instead of, I feel like we're so used to just going on to the next thing. It's okay, you get the job, you get the promotion, you're looking for a partner. It's when do you take the time to really pour into yourself? And I don't even mean just from a self-care standpoint. I mean genuinely take the time, like you said, to love yourself, so that when you go into situations, not necessarily Sneaky Links Motel, but when you go into situations where you're kind of tested and you're not being validated, you still have something to stand on, which I think going into the motel, I realized I didn't have that, because not being validated actually was something where I was like, wow, I actually am not as confident as I thought I was.
Yeah, because I usually feed off of the validation, what's going on.
Exactly. And it's okay, take me out of the motel. Would I really care about what these group of people think? No. Yeah. So why is this getting to me in this scenario? So it did make me realize I wasn't as confident as I thought I was initially going in. But in that, I've worked on myself, and I've learned just not to hold on so much to validation, whether that's Instagram, whether that's, being chosen, whatever. Men, especially, good Lord, if you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. You live by the men, you will die by the men. But I've just pulled from working on myself in order to grow my confidence.
I remember talking to you and having a private conversation in your room, and us talking somewhat about standards.
Yeah.
Today's episode is really about standards and the importance of them. Okay. So I want to know, do you think women's standards today are too high, or are they finally just high enough?
I feel like I have some controversial opinions about this.
Let's hear the controversy. Let us have it.
I feel like because women have evolved, like we are not in the same place our mothers were, our grandmothers. I think standards have shifted to be higher, but as they should. I think women have come into more power, more freedom.
Yeah.
And I think in that independence and learning how to navigate, you know, women in some arenas out earning men or taking over certain industries, I think that it comes with the territory. Like at one point, like your grandmother couldn't open a bank account. So for her, she didn't have a lot of options when it came to freedom. So she had to find somebody to settle down with. And so it's like the standards couldn't be as high because she was in her hometown. There wasn't as much visibility and accessibility. There's also not a lot of like opportunities for her. So it's like, obviously when people, I guess it kind of like frustrates me sometimes when people are like, oh, well, your grandmother wasn't this picky. She didn't have a choice. She had to settle down with Earl. Your grandfather wasn't that great. You know, he was hitting on her, but he was bringing home the money and she didn't have a lot of options.
Your grandpa was Earl. I was Gertie. Gertie, okay?
Earl had 2 other families. Nobody found out until on his deathbed with the will. But it's like, I feel like, yes, standards have gotten higher. Do I think they're too high? I think that's a case-by-case basis. Maybe as a general, I don't know. I can't really even say as a general they've gotten too high because I feel like they've kind of leveled up as women, as we as women people have leveled up. So I feel like the frustrating thing maybe on the male end is that if there hasn't been the same rate of evolution, you haven't had to raise your standards. So you're confused. You're like, well, why are women having these like crazy high standards? But it's like, look at the environment that's changed. Like the entire, like,
we're evolving at a faster pace than them.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, I don't think that standards are too high.
What, though, do you think we should be doing to help men evolve with our shift, right? With our rise of standards? Because clearly they haven't caught up. What should we be doing? How do we help facilitate this? Because they're not holding themselves accountable to the, well, let me
I'm gonna say
meet you guys halfway.
I'm gonna say the controversial thing. You need to withhold sex. Like, you need to take your power back. You need to, like, if we as a majority really seriously locked down and was like, absolutely not, there would be a shift. Like, literally.
I completely agree with that statement.
China's doing, I think this is China doing this. I'm not kidding, they're doing
a continent is ahead of us.
What's the phrase?
Asia's already on top of it.
What is it, 4B movement or something like that? It's like where women are choosing to kind of
the entire country as a collective?
Majority of the women, at least online, what I've seen is like a lot of East Asian women are choosing to be abstinent or choosing to be celibate. They're not basically having these relationships with men. No physical relationships at all, because they're like, until you change and until you also evolve and shift and care about the things that matter to me, I'm not gonna give you children. I'm not going to engage in sexual activity. And I think that's powerful. Like that, like people don't understand how powerful that is. Like, I mean, people joke that like, oh, don't give it up too soon. It's like, don't give it up at all until you are literally getting, like, I know you talked about this in like one of your sessions, but it's like, until you're getting what you need, he's not getting what he needs. What?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's.
Absolutely. You already know how I feel. I'm like, wait, we don't have a commitment and you want what?
No. Yeah.
So I love
commitment, no cookie. Yeah.
No commitment, no cookie. But I do think that that's something that, while I don't think we need to like dangle it like a carrot, I do think that we shouldn't be submitting something that is very valuable that should be cherished until we see a change in behavior.
Yeah. I agree.
Because I do think that we are extremely influential in their lives. We actually hold the keys and the power to be able to help them move and grow. But it can't look like us just winging it and giving them, 100% of their needs being met.
Yeah.
So where do you think most women's standards come from? Well, who creates our standards? Where do those begin?
In the home, I think, especially. I think societal imaging definitely has a part in that. I think how you were raised is a huge part of that. I think that's where the conversation kind of starts, is just kind of, we all kind of mirror what we see.
Yeah.
So I think, it definitely starts in the home. I think I have a scenario where I grew up with a hyper independent mother. Like, I never saw my mom date. Like, my parents weren't together. Like I think they divorced and separated when I was like 6. So I never saw them in the house together. And my mom has always played like a very masculine role. Like she was always the breadwinner. She was always the one who wasn't home for dinner, didn't cook, wasn't like, not to say she was feminine, but she played a masculine role. So for me, I've always seen just one figure instead of like 2 people.
Yeah.
Not that I don't believe in that, but it's like that still affects how I date and that still affects how I navigate. So I think that's kind of even where my own ideals, I've grown to like accept some and I've grown to kind of change some, but that's definitely where it has started for me. Yeah.
What are you doing differently so that your life doesn't look like your mother's? Not that your mother had a bad life, but so that your love life does not look like hers, where she is all things in the home and taking care of everything and having to continuously pivot between her masculinity and her femininity and be the father and the mother all in one.
Yeah.
What are you doing differently?
I think I've thought about this question so much because I think, especially being 30 now, it's like sometimes you do wake up and you're like, wait, what's going on? You know? And like I'm involved with someone, but it's also like I don't know, I found myself in a lot of situations or a lot of times where I wake up and I'm like, okay, is this exactly how I envision myself, or am I going kind of the path that my mom took? And I think what I'm trying to do is be more understanding and be more willing to kind of not compromise, but just have this not so much like hyper independent attitude that I grew up with. Like I've always just kind of, again, like mirrored what my mom did. And she's always had this energy of like, she's very avoidant. She's like, if I don't want to deal with you, I don't. And so I'm trying to have a more understanding, like overall attitude and be more like, okay, let me hear you out if you did something I didn't like, or like, you know, I'm also like a very avoidant person. So it's like, I'm trying to be more open to having conversations, open to being more vulnerable, instead of just like at the drop of a hat, you do something I don't like and I'm gone, because I already see the value of me doing me. But it's like, you don't want to do you forever if you have like these little moments of like pride. So I'm just trying to be, I guess, more compassionate, more empathetic, and not to let every little thing slide, but just more so be vocal about things that maybe bother me, or if something bothers him, like having more open lines of communication. I think that's more where maybe with my mom, like she could have really softened up the edges a lot. Yeah.
How do you feel though that hyper independence showed up between you and Travis?
I feel like, well, it's interesting for him because he didn't grow up with his dad. And so he grew up with, I don't know if she was necessarily hyper independent like my mom, but he grew up with like a single mom, and I grew up with a single mom. We kind of bonded over that at first, but as we've had conflicts, I've seen that come out, where it's like very standoffish between us. And again, I think sometimes there's this attitude where like neither of us want to back down. And so I feel like it can be a little bit hard for me to kind of like really open myself up if I feel like someone's being really like standoffish with me, because it's like, I don't want to break first. And you're like, well, I don't want to break first.
What are you trying to win?
I'm not trying to win anything. I think in moments where, and maybe this is like childhood wounds, but I feel like in moments where your needs don't feel like they're being met, or you don't feel like you're being heard, almost as a way that like my parents would punish me, is like you kind of punish by like
silence.
Subtracting yourself. You're like, okay, well, I just won't give you my presence at all. And then that's when it again becomes this, I don't want to back down. It's like if I've made the decision in the heat of the moment that I want to subtract myself from the situation, I feel like I need to stand on that now, because if I break first, then it's like, okay, am I breaking my own boundary by being like, okay, I was offended and I want to walk away, but no, I want to save this. I don't want to walk away, but I don't want to seem silly by being like made to feel like it was my problem. I don't know. Clearly I'm in my head a lot.
You're going through what a lot of women go through, okay? I think that though, and you will experience this more as you mature in relationship and as you learn to get what you want from men.
Okay.
A part of what happens is you don't want to be hurt like you saw your mom get hurt. You don't want men to hurt you like you've been hurt in the past. So instead of leaning into your femininity, you're going to go into your wounded feminine. Okay. But the wounded feminine is insecure. The wounded feminine is jealous. The wounded feminine is turns into super controlling, which is also a tendency of the masculine, the wounded masculine. And so you then shift into your wounded masculine. And it was actually very similar to Travis. When I was like unpacking like how he handles conflict, I was like, oh. And what you just described is it's a recipe for disaster, because both of you guys are going into your wounded. He's going to his wounded. You're going into your wounded.
Yeah.
But when that happens, you have to think about, is me going into my wounded, is the energy and my way of being that I'm going to project get me the result that I want from this person? Does my wounded serve me? If not, in order to get my goal, what is the energy that serves me? In this discussion, in this conflict that we're having, how should I be? What is my way of being that will help me get the result that I want? If I want more attention, if I want more communication, if I want more affection, if I want more understanding, is me being in my wounded masculine and trying to be controlling or withholding or abusive or punishing going to get me that result?
Yeah. No, it's not. So
it doesn't serve us.
No.
If it is, I want attention. Well, what would happen if I went into my feminine and I said that, baby, I just want attention. I shouldn't have said what I said, or, you did hurt me. But is there a different way that you think you could have handled it?
Yeah.
Right? You like toss it back to them and you engage in questions and you acknowledge maybe some of the way that you handled it could have been different, because men love accountability. As much as they don't like to say
that is the word of 2025. Accountability
is the word.
Last year it was gaslight. This year's accountability.
It's gonna shift every single. The year before it was ghosting. Okay, like we have a different relationship board every year.
Yes,
but I do think that you will appreciate it as you start to see that. And this is what I had to work through as an alpha woman, because you are an alpha queen as well. If we want a man who is strong, us showing up in conflict with strength isn't the way that we disarm them.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If I want him to go soft, I don't go hard. If I want him to go soft, I go soft.
LOL. Sorry. The sound of this. I'm sorry. I'm so immature. Sorry.
I love it.
If I want him to go soft, I'm like, Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, I know how that sounds. But I too grew up single parent household. My mom, she didn't get to just sit in her femininity 24/7.
Yeah.
She had to be a control freak. She had to, she was living in a state of fear 24/7. But till this day, my mom cannot relax. Everything is in survival mode.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we are at Target or Walmart or, what I'm saying? Like, she is like, okay, where are the exit doors? I just saw someone walk by you guys. The baby just complained, we should get out of here. And I'm just like, Mom, chill. We're shopping for, Princeton's clothes. And she stays in this constant state of needing to protect us because she didn't grow
with that protection.
Not from her father, not from the men who she chose. So she had to operate in that space 24/7. And as a mom, we're already worried. We're always worried all the time. But she never got to let down the armor because there was nobody to pick it up for her.
Yeah.
But we have to take a hard look at ourselves, because she actually called me out on it. She saw me being hard with a partner one time. And she was like, I get why you're doing that, but you no longer get to use me as an excuse for it. She was like, do you see what that got me, boo? And I was like, dang, Mom. But like she came for me.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
And so she was like, you can win and be alone. She was like, Mom likes to win. Like, she was like, I never back down for a fight. And you see how that got me. And I was like, dang, till this day, she still don't back down.
She's like, even now, I don't get.
She's like, I'm still going. But she brought that to my attention.
Yeah.
And that has served in like my craft and my work and my like helping, guiding my clients. But it really moved me because I was like, I do want a strong man. I do want a leader, but I have to learn to be led.
Right.
And that's a lot of work.
I don't know if I have a problem with, I'm not typically hard. I feel like the one issue maybe I really, really do struggle with is that I do absolutely withhold and I do draw back. I'm definitely like the turtle that goes back inward into the shell. Yeah. Like you said, because of those, I guess, like subconscious fears of being hurt or things like that. And I do feel like a lot of it is pride as well. Like sometimes it's just so hard to like, especially if you are left out on the ledge by yourself, or
Yeah.
at least it feels that way, right? If you're not getting the response you want, or it's, I don't know, it's like a situation where you can't control. So you're kind of like, okay, if I have to put my feelings out there, am I going to be out there alone?
Yeah.
So I think for me, it is hard to come out of this, like, okay, just breathe and trust it, and don't go inward, and don't be avoidant, and don't just ignore it, and don't just be like, okay, I'm done with this, I'm moving on. You know, I'm trying to get to this place of like, I'm okay with being, I guess, disappointed or dropped. Like literally, if there's no one behind you to catch you, like, but you're willing to like be open about your feelings, you're still letting go and being like, okay, even if there's no one here to catch me, even if I hit the concrete, I'm still, you know. So I guess that part I'm definitely still struggling with.
Well, you have to test for it.
Okay.
So I think that
Trust fall test. Trust fall test.
Well, it looks like I know what being hard with you will get me. Okay, I know what being competitive with you. I know what being defensive with you will get me. I know what being stubborn with you will get me. What happens when I shift that and I'm sweet and loving to you, even if you don't deserve it? What happens when I respond to you with kindness? Will you soften? Will you submit to me, sir? If you will not, then I am not an influential factor in your life. I actually don't hold any power if I cannot guide you emotionally. And if I don't have the power to shift you, this will never work.
And then you walk away.
And then we're out. We dip after we have tested the femininity, and because we know and I'm talking more in when we're not getting our way and in conflict, like what that looks like. On a daily basis, we should be reciprocating and serving and all the things.
He did not pick up the bill, I'm out. He did not pick up the groceries, I'm out.
So talk about is that a standard, right? What are Zoe's standards? What does that look like?
What are my standards? First, the most important thing for me is like you're intentional.
Okay.
Like you have to be intentional when it comes to me. This can't be a willy-nilly, we don't know where this is going. You got to steer this boat somewhere. Intention, I will say for me, I do like a more traditional dating situation. And that's also me being in my 30s, thinking about security, thinking about raising a family, things like that. I think just like ambition, like having, especially as a man, like having a clear trajectory of where he's going.
Yeah.
His ability to be a gentleman, if he's like romantic or not, like that's important to me. I don't want to be with a man who he doesn't know how to be romantic. You can teach that, I guess, but I feel like if I have to kind of force it out of you, that makes me at least feel like you don't like me as much. So the romanticism piece is very important. A man who really abides by his word is important to me. I don't know if that can fall into intention, but like, to me, your word is everything. Like I don't want a man who gives false promises or just kind of like talks a good game. I want someone who sticks by their word. What are some other standards? I think just a person who is a leader, a man who knows how to lead. Again, that probably goes, these are probably all subcategories of intention, but I'm like, he wants to lead, knows how to lead, protector, provider.
Are we talking to somebody right now who does that?
Yeah.
Why did we laugh? What is that giggle? Give it to me.
I'm just immature. No, I think he does. Like maybe there's aspects where he can work on that. Yeah. But I think for the most part, yeah, he checks boxes.
Who are we talking to?
Are we talking about Travis? I don't know if that goes without saying.
So we are still canoodling.
we're canoodling. But yeah.
Okay. So we put it out there. The person that you're still talking to is Travis. Great. Yay. Do you think that you can show up any different to guide him?
To guide him. I haven't thought about that word, guide. I think the hard part about how we communicate is that there are things that get lost in translation. Like I feel like sometimes I have tried that. You throw a little bit and see what you get back.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like, not to make it seem like we play games, but I think sometimes I put myself out there, but then I'll talk to him and he feels like he puts himself out there. And I'm like, I feel differently, but you also look at it differently. So it's like, sometimes I just feel like we're not communicating properly or something's getting lost in translation because I feel like I've described how I like him to show up and he feels like he's doing that. But I'm like, I'm like, okay. But again, not trying to get prideful with it, just more so being communicative about like, this is what I like or this is what I want, and kind of trying to give the space for that. And then if I kind of question it, he's like, well, I do that. And here's like how I've done that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's your opinion, you know? So I don't know.
Okay. In order to get what you want from someone, there's several options you can take.
Okay.
My suggestion is that you study and research all of them.
Okay.
You test for all of them. You have to figure out what motivates the man.
Okay.
So when there's something that I want that runs the potential of maybe even getting a no, or he's complacent, maybe he's lazy about it, how do I get whatever I'm not receiving? How do I get it? How do I turn it into the yes?
Yeah.
You may be with somebody who needs negotiation. What's in it for me? What's in it for you? Right? We do a negotiation. You may just need somebody who needs to be incentivized with understanding what the outcome and the goal is.
It sounds like dog training.
Okay.
Okay.
An additional option, you may need someone who needs affection. Sometimes the feminine touch, sometimes just loving on them, putting your arms around them, being soft with them makes them feel seen and their guard comes down and they're more open to listening, right? So we're testing for all of these things. Sometimes it looks like making them feel like it's their own idea. So we test for, okay, what is it that this person needs? What moves him?
Yeah.
Right? Is it intrinsic motivation where it comes from within his desire to be a better man? Or is it external motivation, right? Extrinsic, which is he's moved by social perception. He's moved by superficial elements. He's moved by maybe the financial gains, or he's moved by what is it that this person needs in order to get my way. And a lot of people are like, well, this sounds like too much work.
I think what makes me nervous about if it's not intrinsic is that I always have the mindset he doesn't like you enough. So how do you know if you have to incentivize a man? Because I feel like we've seen in these reality shows or like, especially I love Housewives, oh my God. And I feel like sometimes I hear all the work that goes into like, I need to get my man to do this, so I have to do this, and I have to do this. And I'm like, does he even like you at that point? Like that makes me, I question that a lot. Like when it comes to dating, I do question that a lot. I feel like I'll get in my head and be, if he wanted to, he would. And I know some people are like, girl, no.
I hate, I repel that energy.
But I'm like, I fear sometimes that if he's not kind of already motivated within to do these things, he doesn't like, at least the advice I give a friend, I'd be like, girl, he doesn't like you enough. Like, I'm sorry. Like, oh, he didn't want to do this for you, or it's not like, oh, take you out to Nobu or something like that. But it's like, if he didn't want to kind of feel motivated to do that, because in my head, there's a girl he would do that for. Spicy.
So I love that you believe that. I also think that it's really cute. Because when I tell you I have a husband who is absolutely in adoration and obsession with me.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, he is still a man. Okay. So for men oftentimes, and this is where we go wrong, is when we want them to think like how we think.
Okay.
They do not think like how we think.
Right.
And yes, they have feelings, but they do not feel the way that they do not feel the way that we feel all the time. And what's important to us is not always important to them. A relationship is not about, ooh, I want to live my life in order to make this person happy 24/7. Because there's no way that I can make myself happy 24/7 if I'm making you happy 24/7, because some of the things that make me happy don't make you happy. So it really is this like fine juggling act. With men though, they do look at and have permission from society to be more self-centered. Society has given, and we operate as women from a more inclusive, a guardian, and we operate from more of a place of relationship. It makes us feel good to make other friends feel good, where they're more like, no, if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. It doesn't make sense to do something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But the power of the feminine is love. And love is the only thing that can make a man do what he doesn't want to do.
Okay.
But if we're not operating in a place to move him to love, then we have no power. Because there's only lust and there's love. The only way to get him to move is lust or love. And we want love. We want the power of the love because the lust fizzles out.
Right.
But we do tell ourselves, well, if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
Half of the things that I asked for my husband, he does not want to do.
Okay.
He does not.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to get the baby ready, but he knows he needs to.
Yeah.
And because he loves me and he knows we're operating as a team, he will do that. But there's half of the things that I got to do, I don't want to do. I push through because of the love and I sacrifice whatever that, moment may be of what I could be, doing instead. And I'm like, well, in order to make acts of demonstration and service, I'm going to push through want and I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how can you wrap it around your mind that communicating your needs is okay? Communicating your needs, though, in a loving way.
I think I could definitely do that. I definitely try in a loving way. I think for the most part, I'm a very feminine person. I feel like for the most part, I try to convey things in a loving way. I'm rarely kind of like in my masculine. So I feel like I do try. Maybe sometimes, again, back to the withholding and the avoidant side of me, that will just kind of like put a little out there. And if it's not received, then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say, you're not going to hear nothing else from me. I'm not going to bother you anymore, So there's that piece. But I guess you're saying like to put yourself out there more or to give more of like what you need.
To get what you want, you have to know what motivates the man.
Okay.
And sometimes it feels and looks like getting what we want, having to step outside of what we feel in order to make them feel like they are winning in the situation.
Okay.
So they need to know that, yes, the result will be happiness, but I cannot make them miserable in the process of achieving that.
Right, of course.
Because they will resist every single time.
Right.
But before you give up on somebody, I do think that we test it out. How do I motivate this person? How are they receptive to it? If they're not guidable, I walk away.
Right. Okay.
But I waste time when I go inward and I withhold and I show up with rejection and don't test for the different ways. Because now I'm just in my feels and still not getting what I freaking want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to find the man that is guidable.
Yeah.
You have to find the man that is willing to get past the I don't want to, but I will for you.
Yeah.
That should be the standard. That should be the only standard.
I agree. Yeah.
That should be the main standard.
Yeah.
Are you willing to serve me because I'm a woman of service?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Have you rewritten your standards throughout your lifetime?
Absolutely.
What does that look like? How does the bar raise?
I feel like when I was in my young 20s, the standards were just like a joke. Like they were, it was just like, could a guy take me on a date? It wasn't, was he fine? Was he tall? Could he buy this dinner? The
standards were low.
The standards were, the bar is in hell. As I've just grown, evolved, dated, had relationships, I have just recognized what's important to me. Like what we were naming earlier. Like I moved intention to the list of my standards within the past year or two because I'm like, I need to be with a man who is intentional.
Yeah.
I've dated guys who just were dating for 8 months. We're just dating. We're not anything. We're not exclusive. We're just dating. We're going on dates and we're seeing each other, but the boat is just out in sea. There is no captain.
Yeah.
There is no steering it anywhere. So for me, I had to add the word intention. That standard is really high for me. Because where do you see this going? Where are we?
Is commitment a standard now?
Absolutely.
Is Travis committed to you?
Oof, it's getting hot in here.
So take off all your clothes. But not for Travis.
I feel like we haven't thrown that word around enough. So I can't say yes to that.
I'm like, do we need to enter in another man again in order to get him to step up to the plate?
Contestant number 2.
I'm sorry. So if you're not in a committed relationship,
Yeah.
you should not be exclusive with one person
Yeah.
if it is not full-blown commitment.
Yeah.
There should be
I don't think we've thrown
multiple
that
people that
word
you're dating.
around enough. I feel like we've thrown it around loosely.
Mhm.
And maybe the thing about our relationship is it's been very silly, very playful, very fun. So we've been very like, let's stay in this zone that we really like instead of getting really serious about conversations. So I can't say fully that like we're committed. Like we don't know what our futures look like, you know?
Mhm.
So I don't know.
So the prerequisite is not, he doesn't have to be your boyfriend. And you'll still entertain him.
I mean, I guess what are we defining committed? Is just boyfriend and girlfriend?
Committed.
Or-
I take full responsibility for my behavior and how it affects you. And I do, as of right now, have the intentions to spend time with you, to grow you, to invest in you. If for whatever reason that doesn't work out, I can always break up with you. But what I'm not going to do is play around with your feelings a year later and still pretend like I'm in and out.
Yeah.
No. So we're still working on standards with Zoe, guys.
I feel like I will admit, here's the A word that every man loves, accountability. I feel like I do find myself in situations like this fairly often where I'll be dating exclusively, and I'll kind of be like, I guess, confused because I'm like, I'm in this area with someone where I really like what's going on, but we haven't really truly defined like C word.
Yeah.
We haven't really defined this. And I think, again, the avoidant girly in
Don't ask
me.
what are we? Ask where are you leading us?
Okay. Remix. Okay.
Because if he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like even, okay, I'll say even with my last relationship, we were at his parents' house for Thanksgiving. And I remember being like, we've been dating for a while and I'm confused kind of like what we're doing. And he was like, you're at my parents' house and it's Thanksgiving. Like, obviously. I feel like I found myself in situations where it's like, well, what it is don't need to be explained. Whatever, what do they say? Like, just don't need to be, whatever what is known doesn't need to be explained.
What is known doesn't need to be told or explained. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Doesn't need to be said. What is known doesn't need to be said.
Right, and it's like I found myself
1000% disagree with that.
I have found myself in quite a few situations like that where it's like, I don't know what it is about spitting out the C word, but it's like, oh, like I ain't gotta say it, like that you know what it is. And I'm like, I didn't. Like, yeah, I'm here with your family, but like, so I will say I feel like obviously there's something with me in that pattern where I'm like, okay, I'm continuously being in exclusive contracts, but like,
from sneaky links to here.
Yeah,
we need to raise the bar and the standards. And if we need to put commitment on the table, it's like, I will not date men who are not leading me to commitment and who are clear on that, right? We spend time together. We've been physical together. You know, we've shared all different levels of intimacy. And this person still isn't willing to commit. What am I doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to keep working with you. For season 2.
For season 2.
Season 2. It will not be sneaky links. It will be committed links.
Please, God, don't let it be sneaky links. If I'm a sneaky link at 31, please, like, no.
Let everybody know, the fellas, how they can reach you if they want to holler at you. The ladies, if they want to get your clothing.
Yes.
How can everybody find you?
Yeah, so it's funny, on all the platforms, I'm like not my name, but like on Instagram, I'm your new crush. On TikTok, I'm Pink Pilates Hottie. I'm like on Twitter, I'm Zoe on the weekend.
Oh my God. All these handles?
I don't know what it is. Like I'm immature. So I always
can't just get the same across the board.
Zoe Martin _0071. No, it has to be something quirky. But yeah, besides that, I have my brand, Odali Dearest. So you can find it at odalidearest.com. And yeah, season 1 Sneaky Links. You can find me on Netflix. Yes.
Okay, we're working on the standards, guys. This is a work in progress.
Yes, we're working. We're in progress. Yeah.
You guys can always play with my Twitter, stroke my IG at The Spicy Life, also Spicy Mari. Click and subscribe, thespicylife.com. Share this episode with a friend. And there you guys have it. You have just been spiced.